The question is that this amendment now be agreed to. I have the call to the member for Wannon.
Thanks, Mr Deputy Speaker. And what a load of nonsense, what a load of hot air we've just heard from the member for Hunter. And I was sitting here wondering why he would be going on about things completely irrelevant to the appropriations debate before us here today. And I began to realise I know why, Mr Deputy Speaker, I know why. We today have released the intergenerational report. And it's funny, back down in 2010, the Labor Party released the 2010 intergenerational report, and Wayne Swan had this to say about it on radio. The first thing we need to do is make sure we invest in the drivers of productivity so we can grow our economy faster and have the revenue that comes with that to support an ageing population. And also, we need to have budget discipline. He then proceeded to deliver a deficit of $47.5 billion. So the member for Hunter has come in here and talked about everything else other than appropriations because the Labor Party have no record in government to be able to discuss this, and that's why we have heard that diatribe. And I say to the member for Hunter, if you want to hunt us down in the lead-up to the next election on regional and rural issues, you better come up with some policies because you have no track record to speak of when it comes to delivering for regional and rural Australia. No track record at all. As a matter of fact, the only record you have is one of debacle. Now, Mr Deputy Speaker, I could spend my 15 minutes talking about how unfit Labor is to govern, especially for regional and rural Australia, but I don't want to do that. I actually want to talk about what the coalition government is doing for my electorate and then for the nation. And I want to start by talking about what the government has been able to do through its fiscal management to deliver for the electorate of Wannon. In the 2013 election campaign, I made some significant commitments to the electorate of Wannon, and through our first budget, those commitments are being delivered upon. And I want to just detail a few of those, Mr Deputy Speaker, here today. We've got the Great Ocean Road upgrade, $25 million. And I know the member for Corangamite, which the Great Ocean Road runs through her electorate as well, has also been a beneficiary of this. But that $25 million is already being rolled out to improve that road. We've got the Integrated Cancer Care Centre for South West Victoria. Now, $10 million given by the federal government to combine with 15 from the state government and 5 in a remarkable fundraising effort by the local community to build this $30 million integrated cancer care centre. That planning for that is underway, and the first sod should be turned this year. We've got the Cobden Technical School and Trade Training Centre, $4.4 million delivered. That is already beginning. The foundations are being laid of that new Trade Training Centre, which will be spread around Cobden Tech School, Camperdown College, Darren Allen P12, the Hampton Specialist School and the Terang College campus. We've got the Conda Hotspur Road, $2.5 million. That money is already available to the Glenelg Council to deliver on improving that bit of road. We will actually then reduce the freight task, especially when it comes to delivering timber to one of our most important mills and then onto the Port of Portland. We've got the Maryborough Educational Centre Trade Training Centre, another $1 million commitment to go into Maryborough to make sure our young people get the necessary skills they need to go on and be job ready. We've got the Melville Lights, Mr Deputy Speaker, $125,000. And I must say I was incredibly privileged to be at Melville Oval last week with the president of the footy club, the new president, Johnny Pepper, terrific fellow, to announce that the lights should be built and be ready by the middle of the year. And there's two fantastic outcomes from that investment, and that is the first, that our footballers and netballers will be able to train at night in safety. The lights that were there were of such poor condition that there were actually seriously worries about OH&S issues for the conditions for them training at night, especially in the winter. So it'll be much safer for them to train, but also we'll now be able to have special events under lights, whether it be Anzac Day, whether it be finals, played on a Friday night under lights, which will just be terrific for the local community. We've got CCTV cameras which are going into Maryborough, into the main street. That's a $100,000 commitment to help keep that community safe, to fight crime in a very effective way. And we've got some significant environmental initiatives that we're rolling out as well. We've got the whale trail, which will be going into Portland, $25,000. This was a great initiative of the Minister for Environment, where we're going to have a whale trail right up the eastern seaboard of Australia, and Portland was one of the first sites which has been named to be part of this national whale trail. We've also got some great Green Army initiatives which have been rolled out. We've got one in Corangamite Shire, which is along there's a community trail and reserve which will be upgraded. We've got the Heytesbury District Landcare Network, their biofund application, and then there, of course, is the Green Army Basalt to Bay Landcare Network. And I've already been down to see some of the outstanding work that Basalt to Bay have been doing with their Green Army. And not only have they been improving some wonderful areas, national park areas, but they've also discovered 2 insects which up until now no one knew existed in southwest Victoria. So there's actually been some significant findings as part of the Green Army project that the Basalt to Bay have been overseeing. And of course we've got a Green Army project for the Goldfields Employment and Learning Centre, which is also has been delivered, and I'm looking forward to going up and seeing it implemented in the coming months. So, Mr Deputy Speaker, very good fiscal management leading to very good outcomes on the ground in my electorate of Wannon. And one of the things that I haven't touched on, but I want to touch further on, I mentioned a couple of road funding initiatives, but there is also a couple of other significant ones which I just want to highlight as well, Mr Deputy Speaker. We've got the Western Highway duplication, $505 million in total duplicating the Western Highway from Ballarat through to Stawell. Now, $404 million of that is being committed by the federal government. And last week, once again, I was very privileged to be there, where a brand new section of 23 kilometres of duplicated road on the Western Highway near Beaufort being opened. And wonderful to be out there with the community for that opening, because we had local school kids there, we had mums and dads there, because they understand the importance of proper road infrastructure to country areas and what it means not only for safety but also for increasing productivity. We've also seen a significant increase in the roads to recovery funding, and I know all regional and rural members in this place understand the importance of roads to recovery funding. I've been privileged to announce that we've just had an additional $55.9 million for my electorate, which will be distributed around local shires, and I know that that will be welcome, because in keeping and maintaining our road networks in regional and rural areas is one of our biggest challenges. And I would say this to the member for Hunter. In your deliberations of putting policies together for the next election, just understand how much you hurt our road networks last time you were in government, because you didn't care about regional and rural Australia, and especially about delivering road funding for them. So if you are going to be serious, make sure that your policy delivers when it comes to road infrastructure for regional and rural areas, because the coalition is doing that, and doing that significantly. Roads to recovery funding next financial year will double. One-off doubling. That's how important the coalition recognises that road funding is for our nation. So we've seen the roads to recovery funding doubled next financial year. We've also seen the Bridges Renewal Program implemented, and this once again is a new initiative of the coalition. and already $2.23 million allocated to my electorate to restore 2 bridges that needed repair. So, and one of those, the Castle Carey Road Bridge, has been waiting for an investment like this for a very long time, and it is fantastic to see $2.23 million already delivered to my electorate as part of this bridges renewal program. So, Mr Deputy Speaker, we are delivering when it comes to road funding. There's also $1 million for the Princess Highway for Dartmoor rest areas, and there's also upgrades to the Terang intersection of $1 million. So another 2 important initiatives to help with the Princess Highway. $1 million near Dartmoor, $1 million for a key intersection in Terang. The coalition government is delivering when it comes to road funding across Australia and across the electorate of Wannon. And I must say, Mr Deputy Speaker, nothing makes me prouder than delivering road funding into my electorate, because the importance of it can never, ever be underestimated. But, Mr Deputy Speaker, the coalition government also has a vision for regional and rural Australia and the nation which just goes beyond individual electorates. And while I'm here, I would like to just take the time to once again commend the Minister for Trade for what he has delivered for our areas. A trifecta of free trade agreements and the legacy of which will deliver for this nation for years to come. Will deliver, importantly, for regional and rural area, because agriculture and agricultural access has been one of the hardest parts of trying to liberalise markets globally. But it will also deliver for the growth areas in our economy, and in particular the services sector. So we have put in place 3 almost nation-changing free trade agreements. And I look forward, especially when it comes to the China FTA, for the member for Hunter getting up to the dispatch box and making it loud and clear the support on that side for these free trade agreements. They've been a little bit silent on the China FTA. I'm not quite sure, because if they were serious about delivering for regional and rural Australia, they would know that that agreement, especially when it comes to the dairy sector, is vitally, vitally important. Yet they just seem to be a little bit quiet in that area, and I'm not quite sure what's going on there behind the scenes. But I just look forward to the member for Hunter coming out as their agricultural spokesperson and say, we've got to deliver on this because it is so important for regional and rural Australia. Mr Deputy Speaker, we've also delivered when it comes to fixing the budget. As we've seen through the intergenerational report, we have started to seriously address Labor's mess. And everyone knows, and in particular in regional and rural areas, that ultimately, whether you're a family, whether you're a business, you've got to live within your means. And that is what the government has started to do. It started to address the financial mess that we have been left. And that will mean that in future years we will have the capability to be able to invest continually in road funding, in health, in education, in the types of programs that will lead to young people being able to have pathways to employment and delivering those much-needed services into communities which are just vital for those, whether they be the disabled or the elderly, where government is needed to be able to step in and pave the way to make sure that everyone in this country deserves the standard of living that we enjoy today. And if we don't get our budget repair done, then that will not be able to happen. But we recognise this. We've already acted in the first 16, 17 months of government, and as we will see in the lead up to the next budget, we will continue that pathway to put the nation on a stable financial footing. So, Mr Deputy Speaker, I must say I'm proud to be able to speak on this bill today, because this government is not only delivering for the electorate of Wannon and delivering in significant ways with significant initiatives, but it is also delivering for the nation. It is setting the nation back on the right track, on the right course, to make sure that we will continue to grow and continue to grow in a way which benefits every single community across Australia in the right way.